Hello, hello, welcome. It's LaShawn again from Let's Get Social, and today we're going to be focusing on McCalls 7757. Over the next 2 weeks, we are going to be doing a version of the top and a version of the bottom. And the goal will be that this will be one of the outfits that I will be taking with me to Chicago Frocktails in a couple of weeks. So we literally have to finish this set in 2 weeks. And so for anybody that is going to Chicago Frocktails, this is going to be something, a great easy sew to make over the next 2 weeks, and something that you could definitely throw into the mix. And could be a very good palette cleanser, as you might be working really hard on your Chicago Frocktails outfit. This is something that you could take a break from that Chicago Frocktails outfit and work on something easy. Again, this is McCall's 7757, and today we are going to be working on the top. Now, I am switching things up a little bit because sometime in the midst of me deciding that I was going to do this pattern and us actually doing this pattern, there was an announcement of a Chicago Frocktails like pre-party, get to know each other event, a boat ride. And so initially, as you all know, the plan was to do view B. However, the boat, I plan to wear this on the boat ride, and it's going to be a little bit chilly at 8 o'clock at night on the water in Chicago. And so you all, anybody who knows me knows that I do not like to be cold. So today we are actually going to do view D, which is the long sleeve version. So still a little bit of a crop, but instead of doing the ruffles, we're going to have a little bit of a sleeve on. And so I am excited about being able to do that. With that said, I am also going to be doing view B offline, because I do plan to take a couple of versions with me to Chicago Frocktails, because I will be arriving a couple of days early, just to enjoy Chicago and all the things that have been advertised on the Chicago Frocktails website. And if you are watching this as a replay, for those that are watching it, Chicago Frocktails Instagram page has a lot of information about Chicago. So even if you happen to watch this after the fact and you missed Chicago Frocktails this year, you can look forward to going next year and take some time to look on the Chicago Frocktails Instagram page to get a little bit of an idea of all the things to do and what you can anticipate if you are going to go next year. And then, of course, if you're going this year, you could do the same thing, because there's lots to do in Chicago. So anyway, let's get started. I am excited because I am also going to be using this. It is not a silk, but it's almost like it's a silk type fabric. And as you all know, I went to Bali, Singapore, and Malaysia last year, and this is one of the fabrics that I got from Malaysia. I have not used any of the fabrics that I brought back, and I know I was going to do like a haul at some point and show you all the things. I got a ton of fabric from when I was in Bali, and particularly when I was in Malaysia. And this is a piece that I got from Malaysia, which I was like, again, you all know that I'm working through my stash. And so as I'm working through my stash, I was like, oh, you know what, this would be really good. And so this is what I am going to be using to make today's view B. I did not have enough to do the pants, so we'll be doing the pants in probably a black or one of these other colors. We'll see, because I do want to do some matching pants as well. And I'm a little sad that I don't have enough fabric to do the pants, but I do have enough fabric to do both view D, which we'll be doing today, and a view E. And yes, I'm going to have two different versions in the same fabric, but it was just a little bit left, and it was enough to be able to do that. So I'm excited about that. So with that said, I want to say welcome to everyone that is here. Thank you for joining. Sabs, I appreciate you for all the likes, because it helps to notify people that might not quite remember that we are doing our sew-alongs on Fridays at 7 o'clock. So I really appreciate it. Hey, Julian, how are you? Thank you for joining. Hi, Lavette. Hi, Susie. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone that is on. And so, with that said, we are going to get started. Again, we are focusing on View D today, which is the long sleeve version. And so, with that said, let me know if you're sewing something this weekend. If you are going to Chicago Fractales, where are you at with your outfit? I'll give you some updates on my outfit. I am definitely working on it, and I'm still contemplating. There's a little, again, as you know, when you start working on it, there's always going to be some change of plans that's in the process, and so I might have a change of plans. I'll share a little bit with you. If you're here, you'll get a little bit of the deets. But I'm still really excited about all that I've done towards Chicago Fractales. And so I'm going to be talking about it, but I really want to hear what you're working on. Hey, Cindy, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. So with that said, let's really dive in. This I do anticipate will be a pretty quick sew along. Again, we're doing the top only today, and then we will be doing View E, which are the pants. We will be doing those next week. And then for the record, I'm doing this colorful version online today, but I'm also going to be doing it in a white because the other plan is to wear this on the boat ride. And if you're doing the Chicago Fractales like pre-event, the boat ride, they're encouraging everyone to wear all white so we can all recognize each other. And so, of course, I got a white fabric that I got from Fine Fabrics when we went to Miss Alethea's So Much Talent retreat a couple of years ago. And so, again, I'm busting through my stash. And so this is a great way for me to be able to do that. All right. Okay. So step one is to get piece number 1 and piece number 2. And we are going to basically, this is the front and the back bodice. So whether you are doing view A, B, C, or D, those are all the top views, you are going to need to do piece 1 and piece 2. So they are exactly the same for view A, B, C, and D. So you are going to be taking both of those pieces and you are going to be putting them right sides together, and you are going to stitch at the sides. And so when we say stitch at the sides, you have this little armhole piece. It is literally just the side piece that you're going to be stitching together. So you are going to lay it out right sides together. And that's piece 1. And then you're taking piece 2. And you know which one is piece 1 and piece 2 because on piece 2, you'll have a double notch. And on piece 1, you will have a single notch. And so you'll know which one is 1 and which one is 2. And so what I'm doing right now, and let me just share there we go. I forgot to add my other camera. I'm still, this is one of the things I'm really trying to figure out, this whole camera situation. I like to be able to give everyone multiple views so you could really see, particularly if you're watching this after the fact, or if you just, want to see what's going on. It is helpful to be able to have multiple views. Okay, so I like to be able to show you multiple views, and I'm still working on that. I got, other little contraptions that I'm trying to figure out how to give you a view that is like looking over me so you can see exactly what I'm seeing. So I'm working on that. Bear with me. If anyone has any suggestions for how to do that, I am all ears because, again, it's just one of those things that I am working on. So again, I'm using my clamps to clip each of the sides together before I take them to the sewing machine. This is the kind of fabric that I would typically serge, but I did not serge it around. So I will probably serge after the fact, just to keep it from fraying. Hi, Kay, welcome. Hi, Divya, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining. We are working on McCalls 7757, and we are actually doing view D today, which is the long sleeve version. So I did switch it up a little bit. Originally, we were going to do view E on live, but I am going to be attending the boat ride. And so I wanted to, and I thought for others that might be attending the boat ride, this would be because it's going to be cool on the water, this would be a great alternative to do the sleeves. The other thing I will tell you, and I said that we would talk about this no matter which view that you decide to do for the top. These tops are crop tops, and so they are pretty, for the most part, pretty short. You could make them longer by extending the length of the pattern piece on the side. So basically this is the back piece. So piece 1 and piece 2 are what you would have to extend. And if you wanted them to be longer, you would just figure out like where you would want it to extend to and add that level of length down to the bottom. And so again, not everyone likes a crop top. And so if you want it to be a little bit longer, you can extend the length a little bit to make it a little bit longer. And you would need to only do that for piece number 1 and piece number 2. And so I would encourage you to do that if that's something that you're interested in doing. Okay, so I have clipped together both of my sides. Again, you're doing it underneath the curve. So from the top of the curve, which is where your arm will fit, to the bottom is what you're going to be stitching together. And it's both on both sides. You will need to do that. So we are going to do that right now. Did it switch? Did not switch. Why not? There we go. Okay, here we go. And you can see me on TikTok. So let me know, what are you sewing? What are you sewing? What are you working on? What kind of progress are you making? If you're going to Frocktails, what kind of progress are you making? If you're doing the boat ride, are you making something? Or are you wearing something that you already have? Talk to me. Let me know what's going on. What are you working on? I am very interested in knowing. So while you're doing that, and also while you're sewing these for $77.57, our seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, unless I let you know that it's something different. But I'll remind you of that as we're sewing. Okay. So I'm really excited about my Frocktails outfit. One, because I am doing, it's a combination of three different Vogue patterns that I am doing. Oh, for some reason this did not sew, and I'm not sure why not. It's a combination of 3 different Vogue patterns that I'm doing. And one is the bodice top. And then I also have this like, I don't know, what do you call it? This piece that's hanging down in the middle. And actually I have a picture of it I can show you. Oh, right here. So I'm adding this piece right here, this middle piece right here, to my shirt. And so I'm adding this piece to the shirt. So that's the second Vogue pattern that I'm using. And then I'm using pants, which are making up the third Vogue pattern. And so I am basically taking a dress and I'm keeping the bodice at the top, and which includes the sleeves. And then I'm adding that, frill part in the front. And then I'm swapping out the bottom of the dress for pants. And I'm using another Vogue pattern that's a jumpsuit to make those pants. And so the 2 things that I pretty much constructed the top, which is fully lined. And as you all know, Vogue patterns have a lot of things going on with it. But I've pretty much fully constructed the top. I am working on constructing the pants. My not dilemma, because it may not be any issue actually, but what I'm eager to see is whether the length of the pants, which are originally from another jumpsuit, will fit the top of the bodice, like whether they will meet, perfectly, so that it gives me a nice, good jumpsuit. I did, do some measurements, and I'm hopeful that it will work. But I will know, because the plan is to continue to work on my Frocktails outfit, as right after we get off of this live, because I want to make sure that, again, my goal is to have my Frocktails outfit wrapped up by the end of this. Well, so let me back up. My goal is to have this wearable muslin that I'm working on, which might ultimately end up being my official Frocktails outfit by the end of this weekend. And the reason why is because if I decide that this is going to just be a muslin, then I have just next week to do the official, to remake the official in the other fabric that I brought. So I'm going to see, how things go, and how much time it takes me to continue to construct it. Because if I like the way it goes, then, and I feel like I can do the other one in the next week, then I'm going to do that. And I literally only have a week, because I am back to travel all of the following week, all the way up until the day before I fly out to Frocktails. So this is it. This week is make or break. And so I have to, I got to make it work for sure. So, all right. So what we have done at this point is we have taken both of the sides, and we have stitched them down, both the sides, 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And our next step, again, because we are working on view D, is to go from step 1 all the way to step 15. And we are literally going to be constructing our sleeves. So we're going to put this away for now. And we're going to start working on our sleeves. So I'm going to have you pull out your piece number. What piece is this? I think it's 4, but let me make sure. Piece number 8, actually. So you should have cut 2 pieces of piece number 8. And it's a pretty wide piece, because the sleeves are meant to be, a little baggy. And I made mine a little bit more baggier. We'll see how that works out. Yeah. So the other thing is that, thank you. So Divya, have you done this pattern before? Let me know what you think about it. Yeah, let me know what you think about it. If you've done, anybody who's done this pattern. This is McCalls 7757. I will tell you, I've had this in my stash for quite some time. Carmen did it a year or so ago. It might have been longer than that. And I just was like, oh, I really want to make that. And I'm not, again, I'm iffy about crop tops. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. It really just depends on where my fitness is, and have I been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so it depends. And so sometimes I shy away from, crop tops. But again, now that I know a little bit more, I also know that I don't have to settle for the crop top. I can take it down a little bit, and I don't have to worry about it as much. Thank you, Leangela. So this fabric, for those that weren't on in the beginning, this is this is a fabric that I got from Malaysia. I have all that fabric that I got when I went to Bali, Malaysia, and Singapore. I got fabric for each one of those places that I went. And this is one of the ones that I got from Malaysia. And so this is my first time actually using any of the fabric that I brought back with me. So I love it. I really like it a lot. So I'm excited about using it. Let me just see. Okay. I want to make sure that, okay, here we go, that I have it going the right way. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to fold this fabric right sides together. So you're going to take that fabric, make sure that you're holding it the right way. So the wider part is towards the bottom, the narrower part is towards the top. And you are going to fold it right sides together with the armhole pieces. Like, that'll let you know you're going to match up those two armhole pieces. Sometimes when this fabric is really colorful and oddly shaped or not shaped similarly on both sides, it could be like confusing, like which way is up, which way is down, particularly when you separate it from the pattern piece. You're like, what is what? And so that will really help you figure it out. Take those two curved armhole pieces and you can match those up, and then you'll start to clip them together. You can start to clip them together. And then we're going to just do that on both arms. You do have notches, and so you can match those up as well. And that'll help you make sure. But it pretty much should line up from top to bottom. So you're going to go right below that curved part where the armhole is, all the way to the bottom. And it should all line up perfectly. A couple of other things that you do need for this top is that you do need some elastic. We have guides that will tell us how much elastic to cut, but you need 1/4 inch elastic, and you need 3/8 inch elastic, but I'm going to be using 1/2 inch elastic, which is 4/8, so a little bit bigger because I ran out of 3/8 inch, so I'll be using a little bit bigger elastic. All right, and this is one arm. I'm going to stitch down the side. So the other thing I realized as I'm working on my Frocktails outfit is that, I'm using Vogue, and I'm realizing like how spoiled I have been with sticking with, some of the other patterns that I've been doing. I don't really sew Vogue all that often. I mostly sew McCalls and Simplicity, and I think that's probably true for most people. And I'm sewing these Vogue patterns, and let me tell you something. And I'm going to also share that the patterns that I'm doing, I think this one is not advanced. This one is easy, with the exception of this. And again, I'm only using one little piece from this, but the other pattern that I'm using is an advanced pattern. And let me tell you, what they mean by advanced is that there are things that they are not going to include in the instructions. There are things that they just want you to automatically know how to do. And so I'm going to tell you, like, I'm reading it, and I'm aware that there are things that are missing from the instructions. What I'm not aware of is, how do I do that thing that's missing from the instructions? That's how I know how heavily I rely on the instructions. So one of the things that I've been doing in this process of making this pattern is I've had to use my seam ripper. I've put things in. I'm like, this is not right. I got to take it out, put it back in, take it out, put it back in. So I've had to do it a couple of times, which is what has taken me a little bit longer to do because I don't have the instructions. And so I realized that each time I've had to use my seam ripper, it's because there is a part of the instructions that is missing. So I don't have that guidance. So I have to kind of use my experience, which again is why it's advanced, because they do expect you to kind of know some things. And so, and really some of the things are the construction part of it, like how this piece fits together. They may not show you a picture or even talk about it. They like literally will go to the next step, and you're like, hey, I know there's something missing here, and I know I have to do something, but what is it that I have to do? And so, it's not been a negative experience at all, but it is just really a reminder of like, oh, okay, when they say advanced, this is what they mean. They mean that these instructions are 2 pages, not because it's 2 pages is easy, but because there are things we're not including in here that we think that you would know if you are sewing an advanced pattern. So with that said, I'm super proud of myself that I've been able to make my way through those parts. And when I show up with this outfit in Frocktails, I'm going to be super proud. I'm super proud already because of how much I've done, but it's an accomplishment, and I'm not underestimating the work that it's going to take me to finish it, but I'm also very excited about it because I'm doing some things that I haven't had to do. I'm stretching in my sewing skills, so to speak. Okay, you said I have this pattern cut out with my fabric, but I need more fabric for my pants because I'm so tall. So, Kayon, let me tell you, I also ran out of fabric. So I am not going to be able to do my pants in this, not because I'm so tall, because I am pretty short, but because I ran out of fabric. So I'm going to be figuring out what am I going to be doing over the next week, because we're doing the pants next week. And so I got to figure out, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to match this up with? And I'm trying to use something from my stash, and I probably would want to use something that's not black, but knowing me and knowing my stash, it's probably going to end up being black, and I'm okay with that. But I'm just trying to, stretch a little bit in my use of color and using the stuff that's in my stash too. So you're not the only one that has run out of fabric. You are not the only one. Hi, Gaynell, welcome. Yes, Carmen, like, I love this. You are the one that made me really love this pattern. And I'm shocked that it's taken me so long to do it, because I really do like it. And I'm excited to be able to wear it. And like, I'm going to literally be wearing this all weekend because I'm making it in this color. I'm making it in the white, like I said, for the boat ride. And I'm making another top that I probably will wear without a matching bottom. So I'm going to have on, let me see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, probably out of the 5 days that I'm there, with the exception of what I'm wearing, the frock tails, I'm going to have something related to McCalls 7757 on 3 of the 5 days, because I pretty much like almost every view of this for the top. And I'm excited about the pants. So the pants, I'm doing a knit in the white. And then, of course, this is that silky type fabric. So it's going to probably have a couple of different looks because I'm using different fabrics. Let's see. So Debbie, you said you found that this pattern was easy and you just had to adjust the length for your height. Okay. And you know what? So interesting enough about the pants, I do actually think that I'm going to have to shorten the pants a little bit, because I'm 5'2", I'm fairly short, and I like my pants long, but not to drag on the floor. And I think I'm going to be wearing it with flats. So I probably am going to have to make an adjustment to my height also. Hi, Chantel. Hey, Latoya. Hi, Doris. Hey, Sam. Welcome. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you. So I'm going to start, one of the things that when I got back from my trip, I was like hesitant to use my fabrics or whatever. But now, look, I'm trying to get these fabrics, bust through these fabrics. And I've made a lot of progress since the beginning of the year. Yes, I made a lot of progress. I have bought recently more fabrics. Obviously, I bought fabrics for frock tails. And so I'm trying not to go back to where I was before I started busting through these fabrics. So I'm going to start. I'm saying all that to say I'm going to start using more of my fabrics that I got from these other countries. So the other thing, I don't know if y'all saw, the other thing I'm super excited about is, I don't know if y'all saw, one of the sponsors for the Chicago Frock Tales is, what is it called? Ditto Form. Ditto Form is going to be one of the sponsors for Chicago Frock Tales, and they are giving away, I guess, raffle, or however it's going to be distributed. But one of the things that they are contributing to the Frock Tales is a Ditto Form. And so for those that, I posted it on my stories a couple of days ago, and I think I might have even put it on there today or yesterday too. But if you're not familiar, one of the things that they do is they do like a full body scan and make a dress form in your body, like measurements. And so, like, to me, I'm really excited about that, because one of the things that I always have to do is to make adjustments to the patterns, um, because of my, I need to adjust it to my body. So whether it's the, sometimes the bust works, but the butt doesn't, or the waist doesn't, or the hips don't. And so I'm trying to figure it out. And I spend a good bit of time, doing that. And so having a dress form that is to my measurements, or, and again, we all fluctuate. So, but close enough to my measurements, um, is going to be really a significant time saver for me. So I'm really excited about it. And I mean, it's a pretty significant price. So if you are going and you're able to win this, which I'm hoping I win, like I'm really hoping I win. I'm putting it out there in the universe. Please give this to me. Like I haven't won anything in a long time. So I feel like my time to win something is like overdue. So I'm putting it out there in the universe. Please give this to me. I need this. Anyway, and if you're not going, please put me in your prayers that I do win this. But I'm sure if you are going, you will want your own. But anyway, like I'm excited about it because not only do I think it's going to be a time saver in terms of, putting, there's nothing worse than making something, putting all this work into it, and then it doesn't fit, and so like, that's just that thing that, frustrates everyone. But I've also started using my dress forms a lot more to help me construct or help me understand how patterns are constructed. So one of the things that I struggle with, and I still continue to struggle with, I've gotten better since I've been sewing it over the last 2 years, but is understanding how all the pattern pieces fit together. And I'm telling you, I literally struggle. I look at the pattern pieces and it's just not always clear to me how they all like fit together. Like I can't visually see it. And so what I've started to do to help me compensate for that is I will literally take the pattern pieces after I like cut them out, and I will pin them onto my dress form, each piece, like before I sew it, just so I can understand like how the pattern, how the pieces fit together. And that helps me do a couple of things. One, it helps me understand the construction of the garment. And then two, if I want to do some design changes, like if I want to color block or I want to make other adjustments, it helps me understand, like if I'm going to increase the length, what are all the pieces of the patterns? What are all the pattern pieces that need to be adjusted? If I'm going to increase the length, or if I need to do something with the sleeve, what are all the pattern pieces that are affected by, any adjustment? And so putting it together is going to, on my dress form really helps me understand that. But there's nothing worse than doing all of that work, even making changes to the design of it. And then you do all that and then it doesn't fit. So, because again, my dress forms, I have a size 8 and a size 12. They fit me differently. And so you could do all that work and it still not fit you, and you still have to make other adjustments. And so I'm really excited about the ditto form because it eliminates that. It really just gives you something to your size. So I'm saying, letting you all know, if you didn't know, that is one of the sponsors, and I am really excited, and I'm just putting my name on it that I'm going to win the ditto form that they're going to be giving away. So anyway, I'm just putting that out there. All right, so we have stitched both of our sleeves together, 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Again, these sleeves are a little bit big because they are made to be, baggy on you. Hey, Anthony. Oh, you getting your hair cut? Okay. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for letting me know, Kayon. Did I say it right? Oh, it's Kizzy. Kizzy, girl, you got more names. Can I call you Kizzy today? Thank you for joining. Let's see. Hey, Shamira. You said, Shamira said, I am winning. Look, okay, girl, it's going to be me and you. I really want that dress form so badly. So I'm just putting it out there in the universe. I have claimed it. It's mine. Yes. So look forward to seeing it in my background because I'm winning it. I'm taking it home with me. All right. Okay. So we finished step 15, which is stitching the side seam of our sleeve. And the next step for us to do is we are going to form the casing for our elastic at the lower edge of our sleeve. And so we need to do this. It says for us to use long stitches. And so typically, you know, when I do a casing, I use the same a regular stitch across the bottom, but it is telling you to use a long stitch when you are creating the casing. So there is a fold line at the bottom of your sleeve, and it is about 3/4 of an inch. So it's a little bit less than an inch. And so what you're going to basically do is fold up, and I am actually going to use, I'm going to use my little iron just to press and make it easier for my fold to stay and then for me to stitch. And then you do want to make sure that you leave a small area open so that you can thread in your elastic. So we're going to be doing that on each one of our sleeves. Again, you're going to keep it wrong side facing out, and you are going to fold up 3/4 of an inch up. And let me just see, is it having us to do? Turn in lower edge of sleeve along the fold line, turning in 1/4 on the raw edge. Okay, so it's telling us basically you're going to turn it up 3/4 of an inch, and then you're going to fold under 1/4 of an inch, again, to just make that raw edge encapsulated in your casing. Oh, tell Anthony I said hello. Is he watching too? Put me on the TV. Because I know he got that whole setup. So tell him put me on the TV. All right. So I'm folding under, and I'm going to press. I'm just waiting for, oh, it's already heating. Well, it's heating. It is heating up. Let's see. Oh, Shamir, you say you'll take the Big Mac. Yes, I love the Big Mac too. I won't be sad if I win that. I have 3 Big Macs. I love my Big Mac. So again, that's another sponsor for, and how can I forget Anna? Oh my goodness. So while I'm talking about sponsors that I know of, those are 2 that I know. So if you don't have a Big Mac, I'm just going to say, like, you're missing out, period. I don't know what else to say. Like, when I got my Big Mac probably like 6 months after I started sewing, and it is a game changer. Like, literally, to be able to like just roll your rotary cutter like over it with no pressure, and it just cuts so easily. Like, it's nothing like it out there. I actually have 3. I have 3 Big Mats of different sizes. So yeah, it's just the best thing. So the fact that somebody is going to be able to win one, I don't know the details of like what you win, but the fact that somebody could win one of any size is going to be like, you're going to love it. Like, period. And if I had a big like sewing room, any of my sewing areas would basically have a Big Mat on it. I'm telling you, it's worth every penny. If you don't have one and you don't win one, let me tell you, you will want to invest in one. It's a game changer, a time saver. Your cuts will be so crisp. And I'm just sharing you my experience with it. And I know other people who have one too. And let me tell you, once you go Big Mac, you don't go back, period. That's just it. Once you go Big Mac, you don't go back. That's my experience. I would never use it. If it's in my control, I won't ever use anything but a Big Mac. So if you come into Chicago Frock Tales, you could potentially win one, and you will be echoing everything I'm saying, because I guarantee that will be your experience. Period. As the young people say, period. Isn't that what they say? Period. Hi, Shishi, I'm going to be reaching out to you, girl. Are you coming to Chicago Frock Tales? I guess that's my first question. I probably asked you this before, but I don't remember what you said. Oh, I am on the TV. Okay. Thank you for watching. Look, tell Anthony I'm on every Friday at 7 o'clock. He can tune me in, turn me on, put me on the screen. You say you are not. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I'm gonna miss you. I definitely wish you were there. Not only because I would get to see your big, beautiful smile, but also because I'm excited to see what you would make, because you always you always give 110. You make everybody else level up. So I was like, look, I said, what would she do right now? Like, what would she be making? That's how you got to show up when we know you're going to be there. Like, you make everybody step up. Everybody. All right. Well, this fabric, it does press well. All right. And then once you go under once, again, you're 3/4 of an inch, you do need to fold it under again. And this is the part that I actually kind of hate. Especially with this silky fabric. And then the other thing I'm going to do, again, because we're going to be putting elastic through here, I'm just cutting my seam allowance a little bit because it will make it easier to get the elastic through. Okay, there we go. Oh, Divvy, you say you hope I win too. I hope I win. I'm so excited. Look, I feel it. Like, I feel like I'm winning. I'm telling you, that's how I feel right now. Like, it's mine. That's why I'm claiming this. Or I gotta figure out what name I'm gonna give it, because it's mine. It's mine. I'm claiming it because I really do want it. And yes, I know this will be my third dress form, but I need it. I need it, I need it, and I need it. All right, so I have gotten my first row, and now I am basically doing my second. So this takes a little bit of time, but once you do that pressing and then you do that stitch, it's going to be so much easier. And again, you just want to make sure that you do leave open. I need to get my little scissors, because those ones don't like to cut anymore. But it'll make it so much easier if you do this little pressing first. But it just takes a little bit of time. Oops. Okay. Just making sure y'all can see me and trying to monitor the comments. You said make a case. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Making the casing for the elastic. That's exactly what I'm doing. But this, that folding under is the part that I'm not like, I don't really like that a whole lot. It's not my favorite thing to do, particularly with this kind of fabric, because it's so slippery. It's not my favorite thing, but because this fabric is also fabric that will fray, I know that it's important that I do it, so I am. So I am Okay, so anybody that's going to the Chicago Fractals, drop it in the chat. Where are you at in your process of making? Are you finished? Have you started? How is it going? Okay, Shamir said, you're starting your muslin tomorrow. Okay, so that means you got your, do you have your fabrics yet? Goodness gracious, this is. The good news is that I have all of my fabric. Terrence, hey, you said this is your favorite top. I feel like it's going to be my favorite top too, because I've been wanting to make it for a while. And I was telling everybody, like, I'm literally going to be wearing some view of this 3 out of the 5 days that I'm going to be in Chicago, because I am making 3 of these tops. I'm doing 3 different views. No, I'm sorry. I'm doing 2 different views. I'm doing 2 view D's and 1 view B. And so I'm excited about that. Oh, this is something. You said, let's not talk about it. Now is the time to talk about it. Now is the time. Tell us, Aisha, like, where are you at in your process? And I've been like so motivated, like by everybody sharing all of their, like, I feel like that's probably the most exciting part so far. Like everybody sharing their process, what they're making. That's been like so exciting for me. So you working on your muslin. Okay, the top. So this is the pattern and this is the view. So we are doing view D and it's McCall 7757. And this is view D. And so I'm going to be making this one in this colorful print that I have here. And then I'm also going to be making one in a white to wear on the boat ride in a knit that I'm really excited about. So, and right now what I am doing is I am pressing, I'm folding it up 3/4 of an inch and then pressing under to the best of my ability 1/4 of an inch. It's not perfect because this is some slippery fabric, but it's going to do what I needed to do. The main reason why I'm spending some time on this is because if I would have serged the ends of this, I would not have be doing a folding under. Thank you. Thank you so much, Carmen. So on everyone, again, just for a reminder, I am monetized on YouTube. And so Carmen just sent me I think it's called Carmen, what are those things called? And make sure you like the live. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A super sticker. Yes, super sticker. Thank you. That is so dope. I love that we have this ability to like show all the ways that we could support each other. I love that. I love that for us. I love that for Black Sewing Network. I love that. Super chat and super chick sticker. Thank you. Thank you, Carmen. I need to like memorize that language. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I feel like I have almost done doing this, flipping this up. We're going to do it a quick way the second time around. Hi, RV Beads. Welcome. Hi, Aura. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So again, what I'm doing right now is probably one of the longest steps that you will make in making this garment, which is again doing that fold of the bottom of the sleeve, which is you're doing to create a casing. What I would recommend is, especially if you use fabric that will fray, is to serge, and that way you only have to do one fold. That's going to be my recommendation because we would be done right now. But it's okay because this is a fairly quick sew. Again, we are doing McCalls 7757, and we are doing View B, which is the top. And next week, we will be doing, which is Friday, May 31st, we are going to be doing View E, which is the pants. And my goal is to have a pair of them right on the dress form for you to see what we're doing. I'm doing the white pants that I'm doing for the boat ride will be without pockets, but the one that we're going to do on live will be with pockets. And the only reason I'm doing without pockets because it's white, and one of my like pet peeves about wearing white is I don't like when you can see the pockets through the pants. Again, nothing wrong with it if you like it, but it's just not something that I like. So whenever I, wear white, I'm always like finding things that you can't see the pockets, either because it's oversized, but so I won't be, because this is a knit and I don't really think it's going to be fitting me loose enough that you won't be able to see the pocket. And I just don't want you to be able to see the pockets through it. So I will not be doing the pockets on that version, but when we are on live, we will be doing the pockets. So, all right, I think we have what we need to sew this first sleeve up. I feel like we have turned it up under enough. I'm gonna put a couple of clips in here to make it easy for me. Is anybody sewing this? Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I want to thank everybody because of you, I am monetized on YouTube, as are some of my other fellow Black Sewing Network sewists that get on and show and teach sewing. And this is just a great way for us to continue to invest back into our sewing community. I'm always so grateful for this platform because of it, I have leveled up in my sewing in so many ways. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So I do have another update. Okay, so I have created this like pressed casing all around, and now I'm going to follow up by sewing, putting a stitch in to create that casing. The key thing to remember is you do need to leave open a section so that you can put in your elastic. One of the things that I like to do is take a red clip and put it in the section that I want to leave open, because otherwise I just stitch around the whole thing and then I'll forget, and then you use your seam ripper to get it out. So it's not irreversible, but why do it? Why have to use your seam ripper when you don't have to? Oh, Thank you, Divya. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here we go. We are getting ready to stitch this, and then we're going to add our elastic. And then we have one more sleeve to go. And I've already figured out a quicker way to do the second sleeve, and I'm going to talk you through that. But we're going to do this first sleeve right now. All right, here we go. And let me give you that, and you can see already. So I do have another update. So you all know we spent 4 weeks working on our friend right here, our blazer, and I'm going to be doing a, finishing it up. It's pretty much finished. I just need to press it out really well. But I haven't been able to do it because I recognized because of my work related travel and the time that I had to get ready for frocktails, I had to pivot a little bit and move right to the frocktails. And so I have not been able to finish it, but I wanted to give you an update that as soon as I get back from frocktail, well, not as soon as I get back. So I have another week of travel as soon as I get back from frocktails. But the week after that, I am going to work on pressing it out and doing another update video for those that also work. I know that there are people that were sewing along with me. And so again, if you have finished or you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. But I have not forgotten. I love it. It is fitting. It is likely going to be a dress. Because I feel like it's long enough to be a dress. So I'm happy about that. Y'all know that I wanted it to be a dress, a blazer dress. So I'm really happy about that. And I did not have to add any length because, as y'all know, I'm 5'2". So I'm already a little on the short side. But I'm going to be giving an update. But I need to focus on frocktails right now. So because of that, I'm not able to finish it, which was the original plan. And again, it is pretty much finished. I just need to press it out really well, and then also talk about the finishing steps that I took. Because I think that when we did it on the live, I felt like it wasn't as clean. The discussion was not as clean for somebody who might be following along. And I just want to make sure that it is an easy sew easier, that's not complicated or overly confused for somebody that might be sewing along. So look forward to that. I will continue to give you an update, but mid-June, I will be doing that finishing video. But I just had to work on finishing frocktails right now. So frocktails and the pre-frocktails, which is what I'm working on now, and what I will be wearing while we are in Chicago. Now, the other thing that's a little tricky I'm seeing as I'm sewing this is that it's circular, and sometimes it could be a little tricky trying to keep this fold underneath as I'm going around in this circle. And I'm just going to do a back up and start the other way. Okay, let me do this way. So I got about half of it done. And now I'm going to start on this side. So here, let me show you what has happened. And it might be that it got a little twisted as I was sewing it, but I'm just going to press it underneath real quick. Yeah, I think that is what happened. It got just a little bit twisted as I was folding it. As I was sewing it, but nothing that can't be corrected. Okay, here we go. Hi, Amanda. Keep up the good work and thank you. I love to learn and watch full tutorials. I'm finishing sewing the McCalls skirt 7933 and finally got the courage to do it. That is so awesome. Amanda, please tag me when you finish it. I would love to see it if you post it or drop it in my inbox. I would love to be able to see it. And with your permission, share it. That is so awesome. I'm telling you, like, the tutorials really, really make a big difference. It was one of the things, like, when I first started sewing, I only picked patterns that had tutorials because I didn't know what I was doing. I did not know what I was doing. Yes, I did. I got monetized. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. I did get monetized in less than a year. And actually, really, it was really, I just hit my year, April 29th or something like that, my 1 year on YouTube. But it was really from November to, I think I got monetized in like sometime in March, maybe beginning of April, end of March. But really November is when I like ramped things up and started really just focusing on it. But I appreciate everyone who has shared and followed and, made recommendations for things that I should sew, all things that I think contribute to, being followed and monetized. So thank you. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it's just all ways that we could pour back into our sewing community. I have a soft spot for beginner sewists. And so I feel like, one of the things Carmen and I were talking about is like really, me getting back to focusing on that beginner sewist. And yeah, because that's my soft spot. And I love when people sew along, even if they're not on live, if they sew along from home, I love it. I like when people send me what they do. Yes, I love it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Grown and Opinionated. I appreciate you as always. I definitely do. Okay, here we go. I think I fixed that little issue. Oops. That clip said not today. And so this, we're working on 7757 View B. I'm sorry, not View B, View D, which is the long sleeve version. And this one has, that oversized sleeve with the gather at the bottom. And so what we are really working on now is doing the casing at the bottom, which we're going to use to put our elastic in. My recommendation for those that are doing this either now or in the future, if you have the ability to be able to do it, is to, if you have a fabric that frays, is to just serge the bottom of that fabric so that you don't have to do that double fold, particularly if you have a silky type of fabric, because what I'm struggling with right now is really getting this fabric to stay under as even though I pressed it, it's just really silky and it can be a little tricky to stay under. So this is a step that I would not do had I serged it, because there would be no risk of fraying. But again, because I did not serge it, I do have that concern of the fray. So I am taking the extra time. that we need to take to, fold it under so that it is that double fold. And I am almost to my red clip, which is where my stopping point is, so that I make sure I have enough, enough room to put my elastic in. And we're going to be using the 1/4 inch elastic in this area. So you do not need a big, all right, let me just, where did I stop it? Right here. You do not need a big area, or a big casing, I should say, because the elastic is very small that we're going to be putting into this section. And again, I'm just going to remind people, make sure you leave a section open. So that you can put your elastic in. All right, we finally finished one. That took way too long, but it's going to be short for the next one. And so I've had my casing, and here is my elastic. Again, it's 1/4 inch elastic. And we have a guide that we're going to use to put our elastic in. It tells us to cut, or actually we don't use a guide for this. It tells us to cut the elastic the size of our wrist plus 1 inch. I will make sure I pay you the $199. Thank you, Anthony. So you're going to do the size of your wrist plus 1 inch. So you, again, to make sure that you have a little bit, that is, you're going to cut to that length. So you're not using the guide for your wrist. Again, you're going to make it the size of your wrist and then add 1 inch to it. And that is what you're going to be using for the length of your elastic that you are putting in. And then you want to make sure that you have a small, I'm using a safety pin, a small safety pin. And I usually use 2. I clip 1 to the outside, and then I clip 1 to the end to fish it in. And I need to get another one. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Deborah. Welcome. Okay, so here we go. Here is, and I'm going to take this one and clip it to the outside where I left it open. And then I use the other one to fish it through. And again, it should be really straightforward because, again, you don't really have, it's not a big area. And what I love about this is that it's really lightweight. So it's going to be perfect for the summer. So I will probably wear this a lot. I'm feeling like I'm going to be wearing this a lot over the summer. Here we go. And this is a real, like I said, this is a very easy sew. So for anyone that is going to Frocktails and, planning to stay for the couple of days, I would definitely say that this might be something that you want to consider making because it's a really, really quick sew. Any of the views are fairly quick to do. So like I said, we're doing the top this week, and we will be doing the pants next week. So I hope I see someone who's also decided to either wear or do this and wear it next week at Frogtails. You'll have to let me know if you plan to do that. Okay, here we go. See, this is why you pin it, because one of mine, it tried to get sucked in there. And thank goodness it did not, because I have it right here. Tried to get sucked in there, but it did not. Here we go. And so the only other thing that you need to do is overlap your elastic. Overlap one over top of the other. So what I typically do is just hold it and stretch it out. That way you don't have that pressure. And then just lay one right over top of each other. And you could either hand stitch it, or you could go to your sewing machine and go back and forth a couple of times. And I usually do like 2 rows. Oops, that was not the intention. I usually go back and forth a couple of times is what I do. And because it's only 1/4 inch, it doesn't take too much. And then once I do one row, I just move it over a little bit and do another row. That way that's less pressure on it. And I don't have, I mean, even though it's only a wrist, it's not really that much. All right, there we go. And then I will hand baste in, close that little opening. But this sleeve is done. And let me just show you what it will look like from the other side. So here we go. This is that sleeve. This is that sleeve. It's got the little edge. And once we connect it, so here it is, and it's actually down. So this is what it's going to look like. And again, I made it a little bit bigger because I wanted it to have a little bit more of a dramatic effect. So that is what you see. And now we are going to do the other sleeve same way, but this time we are going to fold under the smaller first and then the bigger. So before I folded up 3/4 of an inch and then folded under, that was a lot. And we're not doing that this time. This time we're going to press the small one and then press the bigger one. And that is so much easier, I think, than trying to fold it underneath, especially with this silky type of fabric. I think it'll be so much easier. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out that seam allowance a little bit because it does make it a little bit easier to get the elastic through. You can see I didn't have any problems getting it through because I cut off that little piece of seam allowance right here. You can see where I cut it off. So just make sure you don't cut through your thread so you still have that, that tight or solid end, but you do have that little part that's cut off. So again, what I'm about to do now is I'm going to still do the pressing, but I'm pressing the smaller piece, and then I will go around a second time and press the larger piece, and that will make it go a lot faster than last time. Thank you, Shishi. You are appreciated. I appreciate you. Y'all are showing all the love today, and I'm here for it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I could already tell. This is going to be so much better. So again, of this top, this is view D that we're working on, the long sleeve view. And I'm just going to remind people that there is a way to avoid this double fold, and that is by serging your end. But of course, if you use a knit, you don't have to worry about it because knits don't fray. And so unless you want a more polished look on the inside, then you could still do the double fold. But I would recommend that even with the knit, if that's something you are interested in, I would just do a serge and a single fold, and it will look just as polished on the inside. I wish that I would have done that. Hey Dee, welcome. So we are working on McCall's 7757. We are doing, so we had a little bit of change of plans from the original, which is we were going to do view B, which is the short, the crop top with the ruffles. But the plan is to give people something that they can wear on the boat. And so we decided to swap out view B and go with view D, which is the longer sleeve version. So it's still crop top, but we talked about how to lower that so that you don't have to be as high of a crop. You can bring that down a little bit so that it comes a little bit lower. If you're not a person who likes a crop top, or maybe you want to bring it down to like a midriff, we talked about that. And then the longer sleeves, because the boat ride is 8 o'clock at night or in the evening, and it's going to be a little cooler because we're going to be on the water. And so a perfect place to have something that's a little bit longer sleeve. Also a great time to pull out your caftans. So if you have a caftan that you made this year or last, that would be another great thing. And I think, Carmen, you're doing the caftans, I think, on Sunday? I think you're doing it on Sunday. And I know Nikki did it recently as well, her new caftan. So that if you did get a chance to make it or get her pattern, that would be perfect for the boat ride or any evening. All right, so first time around, we are done. And now we are doing it a second time around. Again, it's going to be much easier this time because it's so much easier to do a big fold than a little. Already, I could tell the difference. Already. You said the sewing machine looks like a computer. It is a little mini computer. Let me show you. So that is my Bernina 790. That is what that is. And I love it. I've had it for, I guess, has it been a year? I think I've had it for, I've had it for a year and a half. I got it December of the year before last. It was like a Christmas present to myself, and I love it. I've had like no major problems. It hasn't been in the shop. Although I feel like I do need to put it in the shop just for some regular maintenance at this point, because I use my sewing machine a lot. A lot. Dee, are you sewing anything this weekend? Okay, again, we are just working on creating that casing for our second sleeve. It's going much smoother. Oh yeah, I need to get a backup sewing machine too. I definitely need to get a backup sewing machine. Julian, who is our like sewing machine expert, gave me some recommendations. I need to just pull the trigger and just do it. That's really what I need to do. I need to pull the trigger on the recommended ones that he did. And I did apply to be an ambassador. So part of me not pulling the trigger was kind of seeing if, hey, maybe one of these ambassador, maybe I get selected as an ambassador and then I don't have to spend money on another sewing machine because I'll just use, mine or theirs or whatever as my backup. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more time and then we will see. All right, I feel like I'm good to go at this point. Just put a couple clips in to hold what I've done. You said you had to change the day from Saturday to Sunday. Okay. All right. So just putting a couple clips in. And again, I have my red clip in to make sure that I do not sew the whole thing closed, that I keep at least one piece open so I can get my elastic in. And now we're about to start sewing. And again, this was so much quicker doing it this way than that fold under. That was like for the birds. Okay, so here we go. Right now we are creating our casing. So this should be, okay, you all can see me. Hopefully this will be really quick. So Dee, are you going to Chicago Frocktails? Uh-oh. Come on, don't give me a hard time. Oh, you're not going. Okay. Well, maybe next year. Are you going to the Baltimore Frocktails? I got to get my ticket for the Baltimore Frocktails. I got so many things I got to get. I got a list of all the things I need to do. And that is one of them. Again, for those that are watching right now, I am creating this casing at the bottom of our sleeve We have elastic that goes into the bottom of the sleeve. And so I am creating a casing right now. And one of the little bit of a challenge of creating the casing is that, you know, this sleeve is wide and it gets a little, not bunched up, but it becomes uneven at some point. And so you just have to take it out and re-put it underneath. And where's my, okay, here we go. Okay, thank you for stopping by, Vivian. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you for joining. All right, here we go. And we are on the last little section. And then the only thing you have to make sure that you remember is after you put your elastic in, that you go back and close your little opening that you leave open for your elastic. You want to make sure that you do close it. All right, here's my last little piece. All right, I'm leaving this little section open, and I am going to again cut a piece that is my length of my wrist plus 1 inch. And then I'm adding about 1 inch to that. There we go. And then I'm using my 2 safety pins, same as I did before. One I use to help fish it through. And then the second is, I got you. I got you, Anthony. I got you. All right. And so the second one, you are going to clip onto the outside. Again, also another tip is cut your seam allowance, that those, you know, a little section of it that falls right underneath of your, actually, let me stitch this under a little bit more. So I don't need that much opening. I just closed my hole a little bit more. Just makes it that much easier when I have to go back. And now I'm just taking it and fishing this through. Hi, Cake. Welcome. Hi, Miss Carol. Welcome. I have been loving your outfits on Me Made May. First of all, I've been liking everyone has really just showed up and showed out in Me Made May. In fact, I have to still post my post for today. I'm so proud of myself because I have literally posted, I think, just about every day. And so I haven't posted for today yet. Part of that I contribute to the fact that I was able to schedule my post. So I took some time a couple weeks ago and planned it out for about 2 weeks. So that was really, really helpful. But I need to post for today and probably plan out for the rest of this month. But it has been really good to just revisit like some of the things that I've made during Me Made May. Let's see. There we go. And just see what everybody else has done. Like, I'm telling you, like, I feel like us, the sewing community has truly like leveled up over the last couple of years. And it's just been so inspiring to see everybody's like what they're making. So I'm enjoying it. And for those that didn't know, my birthday is on Monday. So I'm excited about that as well. Look, I need to be making me something to wear for my birthday, even though I don't have any plans except for to relax at this point, which I'm very happy about because your girl has been on the go. You say you still got to post today. Me too. I'm with you. We're together. We both got to post today. But I'm like, okay, as soon as I get on social media, I go to your page. Like, what did you post? What did you make? What are you wearing? What are you highlighting? Because you just been on fire. On fire. I'm like you and Kay, a lot of people. But I'm like, I'm going to your pages to see what y'all, what have y'all made? Been awesome. Okay, so I've gotten it through, and again, I am going to just, let's see. There we go. Gotta make sure I don't lose any of my which one is that? That is this one. Oh, I lost one of my cameras. But that's okay. I'm not using that one anyway. So again, I'm just going to do that overlap really quickly. And then guess what? We are going to be attaching our sleeves to our bodice piece. Like, that was so quick. So again, I'm doing the overlap, and then I'm going to go back and forth a couple of times. And then I will do off camera again, closing that this little hole. I'll do that off camera. You also want to make sure that your elastic is not twisted. because you'll feel that potentially on your wrist. All right, one row done, and I'm going to do one more row. Okay, and now we have created our other casing. And so the only thing I need to do is just go back in and close that, which I will do. And then our next step is, it says, okay, to stitch open the close the elastic, which again, I'm going to do offline. And then it says with right sides together, we're going to pin the sleeves to our armholes. So here's our two sleeves. And here is our bodice piece. So we are going to make them right sides together. So you're going to turn your sleeve over to the right side. And I usually leave my bodice on the wrong side facing out, which again, on camera can be a little bit difficult to see. And then you're going to take that armhole portion and you're going to line it up with the armhole portion. So just like you would do with another shirt, you're going to put those two half circles together, or the armhole portions together, lining up your seams. And then you have notches also that you could line up. So I'm lining up my seams first, and I'm actually going to take a pin, and I'm going to put it right through the middle of those seams, and that just keeps it lined up. Hi, Lala. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. I'm excited about my birthday every year, but this year, and I'm looking forward to a day of relaxation. Definitely looking forward. Thank you, Julian. Yes, it's Gemini season. I know so many people that have birthdays right now. It's our season, our time. When you are putting on your sleeves, make sure that you look at your notches. Again, the double notch is the sleeve should match up to the double notch on your bodice. And that lets you know that that part of the sleeve should be facing towards the back, and then the single notch towards the front. Just to get another little tip. Sometimes as you're putting it together, you can forget those things. And so I just want to remind people, again, same thing. You're going to put your sleeve on the right side, leave your bodice turned with the wrong side facing out. Take your sleeve, put it towards the inside, and then you're going to line up those half circles or the armholes. And in this case, it's a half circle because this is intended to be off the shoulder, although you can move them up and put them on the shoulder, but right sides together. And again, I'm starting by lining up my seams. And I like to put a pin right through the seam. To me, that keeps it lined up the best. And then I use clips the rest of the way. And it should align fairly perfectly. And then we are going to stitch 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. And it tells you to do like a double stitch. So basically 2 rows of stitching is what is recommended. So you'll put yours in at 5/8 of an inch, and then you'll do a second row at a 1/4 of an inch below, from the edge, from the raw edge. So this is what it looks like. And we should have 1 on each side. And we are going to stitch that together. Again, one of the things that I wish that I would have done, and will likely do on the other shirt that I'm using the same fabric with, is serge it. And as you're sewing, make sure your raw edges stay lined up. Mine just came off because, again, another thing that can happen when you have this really silky fabric, it can just move around on you. Okay. Yeah, this silky fabric is saying hello. There we go. And again, I'm just making sure I don't have any bunching underneath. Make sure you back stitch at the end, and then you want to do 1 more row as recommended, 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Second row should be a little bit easier than the first. Not that either is difficult, because it's not. All right, 1 sleeve down, 1 to go. Well, the good news about this silky fabric is that, in addition to that, I love the way it looks. It's going to feel great on my skin, and it's going to be really cool when it's hot outside. All right, second sleeve. Again, 5/8 of an inch for the first row, and then second one, 1/4 of an inch from the edge, from the raw edge. All right, and I'm going to do 1 more row. 1/4 of an inch from the raw edge. And again, this is much faster because the fabric is already stitched together. So this is just a reinforcement stitch, really. Okay, and now we are going to be doing our finishing. So you have your, let me just show you, which is basically putting elastic in. And that is really important because as you can see, you have a pretty big, you see, yes, you have a pretty big garment. So this garment, you need to put the elastic in it. So you have the, what do you call it? The ruching around it, and it's going to pull this in around your shoulders, around the bottom part. So you do need to be putting your elastic in. And this is where you are going to be using your guide. So you have two guides, one for the top and one for the bottom. And so let me see, guide number 9 is the guide for the upper elastic. So it goes around this top part or the top of your garment, and then this one goes along the bottom of the garment. So before we do that, we do need to create our casing. So again, here is our garment. We've put it all together. It should be like a big, you know, a big circle that you've put together. You've added your sleeves on. So the top is much bigger because it also will be going around your shoulders as well. So we're going to be creating our casing. So basically what it tells us is there's a fold line at the top of your sleeve. It goes basically all the way around your sleeves, around the top of your garment. You are going to I would say turn it inside out first, because then we are going to be turning it towards the inside. So one of the things that I'm going to do, because we only going to do one fold on this. So I'm about to get my serger. So we're going to use the serger. We are going to use the serger. I'm just going to set it right in front. And that's going to make this so much easier. So I'm just going to move my sewing machine back. And we're going to use a serger and create a serge all the way around. That's going to make this so much better. All right. Here we go. got our oops. All right, there we go. All right. I just need to plug in my. All right, so we got our serger plugged in. And guess what we're going to do to make this so much easier than what we have? We are going to serge around the top and the bottom. And again, I'm recommending this if you have a fabric that is super silky, because then you can get away with just doing one fold, because you don't have to worry about the fraying. And this fabric is fraying, even as I am working with it, it's fraying. So it's just something that you don't have to worry about. And so serging is pretty quick. It doesn't take long at all to do. And so I feel like the time it would take us to serge this is far less than it would take us to do that double fold. So I am literally just going to serge the top of this all the way around. And it's going to preserve. Oh yeah, that just looks so much better. And it just also makes it look so nice and clean. Also, so it's another benefit of the serge. If you don't have a serge and you're interested in like, oh my goodness, how can I also benefit from that? You can do a zigzag stitch at the end, or you can use pinking shears, which is the other thing you could do, which might be quicker, I think, than doing a zigzag stitch. Yeah, this thing is like, woo, it is really. So the only downside I will tell you is when you serge it, you do kind of lose your notches that you might have cut into the fabric. Because I'm seeing mine, they'll be covered up by the stitching. Your notches will be covered up by the stitching. So yeah, you know what? I agree. I was just thinking that, like the pinking shears are definitely fast. And they work just as good, in my opinion. Okay, here we go. We are literally to the last little section. All right, and just for those that might be so this one I gotta fix that. This is what it looks like. If you can see that, and then I'm gonna do the same thing along the bottom as well, because we are going to be doing the same thing at the bottom, creating two casings, because there's elastic that goes in the top and the bottom. The top is a little bit longer because it goes around the shoulders too. It does not take long at all to serge this. And as Lala said, pinking shears are just as quick. But this is going to save us some time. And here we go, the last little piece. And I always do like a little bit of an overlap. There we go. Same thing. If you could see that. Same thing. I don't know why, but let me see. Okay, hopefully that will make a difference. Okay, so I'm going to now move this. I'm going to put it on the floor because we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to move this back. And let me make sure. Okay. So now we have serged the top and the bottom. And it is telling us to basically turn the upper edge of the top down. Basically, we're going to create this casing. So you're going to turn your garment right side out. I'm sorry, wrong side out. And then you're going to fold it all along the top to create that casing. And because if you serge it, it is so much easier. You don't have to do that double fold at all. The only thing I will say is that I do think you should do is cut out that piece of, which I should have done before I serged it, but it's neither here nor there. Cut out that piece of seam allowance. Just to make sure that your elastic does not get stuck in there. That can definitely happen. If you've ever created a casing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I just like to cut it out. It saves me every time from having to figure that piece out. I'm just going to cut a little bit of a bigger piece. You just have to be careful. Make sure you don't cut your garment. And then you can just fold it. Let me see what brand. My preferred method is using the serger. Okay. So my serger is also a Bernina. It's a Bernina, I think it's 860L is what I have. So I got them. When I bought my sewing machine, they had like a deal going on where I got both of them for a discounted price. I mean, it was still a big price, but it was less than what it normally would have cost. All right, so now I'm turning it under and we are getting ready to stitch. Baby Lock Celebrate Air Threader. Oh yeah, so yeah, and mine is also an air threader, which is a game changer. I love the air threader because my first serger was a what was my first serger? Oh shoot, what was it? I can't remember. It'll come to me. But it was also very good. I loved it. In fact, I gave it to my daughter. Oh, this is like gonna be the best. Sorry, I'm just excited about the fact that this is going to be so much better and easier. What was my serger? I'm trying to think, because my first serger was like, it was like $200, $250. And it worked perfectly. I bet when I bought this sewing machine, I was not looking for a serger, but because it was such a good deal, I ended up, doing it. And like I said, I gave my original serger to my daughter, which worked perfect. I had no problems with it. All right, sorry, I forgot to cut out this little piece. This is again seam allowance that I am just cutting out. If you don't cut out that seam allowance, you run the risk of your elastic getting stuck. And so this is just a way to make sure that does not happen. As you can see, this is going so much quicker. So much quicker, so much better. So again, another reason why I definitely recommend you to do a serge or do some pinking so you don't have to do that double fold. That double fold takes forever. So another little section where I'm going to cut. When you are cutting out this part, you also just want to be careful that you do not cut into your fabric. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I appreciate that you're here. We are working on McCalls 7757. We're doing the top. We are actually doing view D, which is the long sleeve version. It is something that I plan to wear to the Frocktails. Not the actual Frocktails event, but the pre-events. And while I'm in Chicago, particularly the boat ride, I'm making an all white one, but this one I'll be wearing another day. So easy sew. We're doing the top today, and next Friday we will be doing the pants. Also another easy sew. Let me see how much more we have. Okay, we're almost there. Again, this top is the top, that casing that we're creating is pretty big because it goes all the way around the shoulders. Again, you got to make sure that when you are doing this, that you do leave a section open so that you have somewhere to put your elastic through. This is going so much smoother than when we did our sleeves. Or so much quicker, I should say. And do a little back stitch. And again, it's a pretty big area, but you'll see how it shrinks down when we use our elastic. So we're going to put this guide, and this is for the upper elastic. So we are using a little bit of a thicker elastic. So it calls for 3/8 of an inch. I don't have 3/8 of an inch. I only have a 1/2 inch, which is 4/8 of an inch. So we're going to use that for the top and the bottom. And I feel like I did account for that as I was making my casing. So worst case scenario, if my elastic doesn't fit through, I will just use the 1/4 inch, but it should. Elastic is pretty forgiving, so I should not have any problem. Again, for the top and the bottom, you are using your guide to help you measure that. We are also going to use, we're going to use our same elastic pins. Let's see. We're going to use our same elastic pins, doing the same thing that we did before, which is to clip one end to help us maneuver, and then clip one end to the outside just so it doesn't get pulled all the way through. And let me find, where's my little opening? And here's a little section that I realized got twisted. So I'm just going to take this out because I can see it already causing me a problem. Again, when you are putting your, creating your casing, you just want to make sure that as you're going through that you don't, you don't have any, gathering or anything of the material. Like that's what happened here. It just folded underneath itself. Not a big deal, but I'm going to take it out and then I can just fix it afterwards when I close up the other hole. But opening this up now will just allow my elastic to go through nice and freely without issue. There we go. I think that's it. All right, there we go. Okay, so let me, in fact, I could just do it right here. Where is it? All right, here we go. And then again, the other thing, you just want to make sure you don't have it twisted. And then you are going to push it through. And it should not be any problems pushing it through. Again, if you have a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, it'll be a little bit easier to push it through. I'm sorry, 3/8 of an inch elastic, it'll be a little bit easier to push it through. Let me see. So I've been using Pinking Shear Zigzag and the Overcast. I think that's the name stitch, the name of stitch on your machine. Okay, the Overcast stitch. You watched Patterns by D, and she did a flat felt seam, and you have been messing with that. Yeah, you know what? The flat felt seam is something that I have not done, but I do like it. It's very neat, and yeah, I do like it. I need to play around with it. I think once you learn how to do it, it's probably just as easy, or I guess you might just be able to do it just as easy as I guess the other. But for me, it would take me extra steps. So I haven't dived into that yet, but I definitely like it. And when we were at the So Much Talent retreat, Auntie Carol did, I think it was Auntie Carol that did like a session on the, different seams. And I'm almost sure it was her that did it and kind of walked us through. And we all had an opportunity to kind of practice because they had sewing machines there for us to, or some people brought their own. I borrowed one, and we were able to practice not just that stitch, but a couple of the other ones that are similar. I forgot the other ones. I have I took some notes. Okay. Where is that? So remember that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So remember I told you to make sure you cut your seam allowances down so your elastic goes through. So there was just one section that I did not cut and it got caught on it, but I was able to push it through. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play around with that flat felt seam. Thank you so much for all the likes. I appreciate that. Thank y'all for joining and watching. We are to our second to the last step of our finishing our top, which is we are putting our elastic through the top of our top. So we're doing view D, which is the long sleeve crop top out of McCalls 7757. Go. And this is, again, this crop top, because it is going over both the front and the back and the shoulders, it is pretty long. Like I made it, let me see, not quite halfway through, pushing this elastic through. It would be a little bit easier if I had a smaller piece of elastic, but I used a 1/2 inch, or if I would have made my casing a little bit wider, I guess I would say. So I might do that on the bottom just to have it go through a little bit easier, but it's not terribly difficult. Not terribly difficult, just a little maneuvering. And then it also is because if I had a bigger safety pin, it would be easier to push it through. So those things just make it take a little bit more time. Using a smaller safety pin, using a bigger piece of elastic. and making sure that your casing, I should have made the casing just a little bit wider, and it would have helped the elastic go through quicker. Not a huge deal. You can definitely navigate through it. Yes, I'm excited to try this on and see how it fits. See if it has the flow that I think it's going to have. Again, the fabric is super thin, which is perfect for summertime. So it'll be interesting to see how it all fits. Okay, here's another little area where I am going past the seam. There we go, made it. Again, this is where I stress like the importance of cutting that extra seam allowance, because when you have to get that elastic through, it definitely helps it go through much easier. So have you felt like, since you've been trying the flat felt seam, that it is the flat felt seam, say that fast 3 times, that after practicing that it's going pretty good, like you're getting the hang of it? Is it something you think you can do fairly quickly, like with some practice? That's the main reason why I haven't done it, because I'm like, oh, once you do it, you got to commit to it. And usually when I'm sewing, I'm like going fast, I guess, or not going fast, but I'm on a time crunch, so to speak. So it's like, okay, but I do like it, so it's worth it. So Christy, you said, did I lengthen it? Did I lengthen? You mean did I lengthen, or, oh, you mean lengthen my top? I did not lengthen it. So when I try it on, it is the crop top. So the only thing I did do is I did sew a large, so that it would give me a little bit more, it would come down a little bit lower. So that is, I would say that I'm probably a medium in this pattern, but I sewed a large just to make it a little bit bigger, because I knew I would have the elastic and I didn't want it to fit tight. But I knew the elastic I would have some options with the elastic, that if I needed to, fit me well. So that's the main thing I did, but I did not lengthen it. The other thing is, I'm thinking about, I do have some caftans that I made. So potentially I might throw a caftan over top of it. Because it is going to be, if I feel like it's still a little bit shorter than I want for the weather, then I will throw a caftan over top. That's the plan B that is going to be my plan B. But the good news is, so you'll be able to see on me, and I have a pretty short torso also. So you'll be able to get a feel when I try this on what the regular length is going to look like without making any lengthening to it. But you could definitely lengthen it by extending pattern piece number 1 and 2. Okay, I think I am right here at the end. We've made it. And so what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to stitch up the openings at the end. And so the other thing I'm going to do is I am not going to stitch these closed because I also want to try it on first. So what I'm going to do is take the ends of my elastic and I'm going to overlap them, and then I'm going to put the safety pin back in. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, I did cut a size large, and so the elastic is based on cutting a size large. And if it's not tight enough, then I'm going to cut the elastic some to make it shorter. And so I am just going to, basically pin it that way first to make sure that it is going to fit me tight enough before I sew it closed. But before I do that, I do need to stretch it out because I have all this elastic kind of hanging. And so I need to make sure that all of that gets in and equally spread around the entire top so I can get a real feel for what it's going to be like. So I will know, do I actually need to cut anything or not? All right, it's going in there slowly but surely. It's a big area, so okay, here we go. So again, what I'm doing now is just working that elastic all the way around. And because it is such a large piece, I just have a little bit more to work through. Let me try this way. Okay, here we go. I also want to make sure that I don't lose my pin, my safety pin in there, because I might need to adjust it. So that's the only other thing. And it's right here. I'm not losing it, but I want to make sure that I don't. All right, there we go. I think I got maybe 2 more times to stretch it around, and that should get me. Okay, there we go. I feel like this is going to be enough. I don't think I'm going to have to shrink it, but I mean, taking the elastic out, but we'll leave it right here for now. It's almost all the way in. As you can see, it's just like a little teeny piece left. All right, so this is like kind of where it's at with 95% of the elastic in. And again, it's the larger piece because it is covering your shoulders as well. All right, so now we have the bottom to do. And again, the same thing, we're just going to, before I fold it over, I am going to just clip out the bottom piece at the seam so that it doesn't get caught on there. So I have one there. This is much simpler than the top because again, you don't have the shoulders, you don't have the sleeves, you just have the bottom, and it's a smaller piece because it's just the bottom. You know, the good thing about doing this is, again, if it does come out to be shorter than I want, then I can always add. Now I don't have any more fabric, so I would have to find a different color, probably a black or whatever's going to match my bottom, but I would add a piece of fabric to the bottom of this to lengthen it, to make it longer. But we're going to see. I'm a little nervous because I don't want it super short, but I am a little nervous. So, and I do need to fold it under, as you all know, a little bit more than I did the last time because I want to make sure that it's much, much easier to get that elastic through than it was this last time. But this is the last step, which is, again, creating that, well, second to the last step. We're creating the casing for our bottom piece of elastic. Same thing we did on the top. I'm making mine a little bit bigger just to make sure I don't have any issue. I feel like this will look really cute with, you know, the flowy pants that are the bottoms to this. And I'm sad that I don't have any more of this fabric because I would have loved to do the bottoms of this fabric too. Again, one of the things that I'm recommending is that if you use a fabric that frays, that you serge the bottom, or do a use your pinking shears so that you don't have to do a double fold to create that casing, which you will need to do if you don't serge or use your pinking shears if you have a fabric that will fray. And let me see how much we got left. Okay, we're almost there. We're down to the last little part. Okay, here we go. Again, you have to make sure that you do leave a little part open, which you can go back and close a little bit later. Okay, I've gotten my, can I repeat what you said about, about the seam allowance. Okay, so for the seam, so there, the section, when you are creating a casing, sometimes, and you can't really tell this because it's hard to see it, but sometimes this seam allowance, when you create your casing, when you are kind of threading your elastic through with a safety pin, it gets stuck on this. It kind of will hit it. So what I do is I cut out that little section of the seam allowance so that when I'm threading my elastic through, it doesn't get stuck on it. So I just kind of take that seam allowance and I cut out a little section of it. Again, I don't cut through the thread, through the seam. I just cut all the really close to it and just cut like a little rectangle piece out so that when I'm creating my casing, I could easily slide the elastic through without any problem. So it is very helpful. Guide for elastic lower. Okay, here we go. So this is the lower piece. So it's very helpful. I definitely recommend it. It took me a couple times to remember to do it, but after having to try to fish my elastic through one too many times where it's taking me forever, I'm like, now it's something that I just do automatically, which saves me lots of time. Okay, and I'm going to cut this. Now this one should go through much quicker because not only did I make the casing a little bit bigger, it's also not as big, not as wide, because it's only going around the bottom portion. And let me see, where's my opening? Here's my opening. And I think I actually can use this to go through. So this time I used a bigger safety pin because I feel like I'll be able to push it through even quicker because I made my casing bigger. So again, one of the things that I will do after the fact, after I make sure that this is the right size for me, is I will go back in and, the only other thing too, is you want to make sure that your elastic is not twisted as you put it through, because it'll be twisted inside. So, so as I was mentioning before I cut myself off, is that once I make sure that this is fitting, I will go back in and close my elastic ends like I did in the sleeves. And then I will basically hand-based close those little openings that I use to put the elastic through. And we are literally, this is the last step. We're fishing through this bottom piece of elastic. And so some potential adjustments that might need to be made are, again, if it is not long enough, meaning if it doesn't come down long enough on my waist to the length I want it, I may end up taking out the casing and adding another piece of fabric to get the length that I want. I recommend that you do that beforehand, because obviously that, and you can do that by adjusting the length before you sew it all together. And you would be adjusting the length to pattern piece number 1 and 2, which are the bodice pieces. I did not do that. What I did instead was use a size large, and I didn't think I would need to add anything additional because I used a large instead of a medium. And part of that is that I did want to have a little bit of an oversized look, because I did not want it to fit tight to my skin. I did also take a little bit of the width off of the pants as well, because I've already cut the pattern pieces for the pants. Because as I mentioned earlier, I am doing this in a white as well, because I want to wear it on the boat. So what I'm going to do again, because I may need to adjust this and make it smaller, instead of me stitching it closed, I am going to just pin it with the safety pin. And that'll make it easier for me to find it when I'm trying to open it back up. And as you can see, this went through much easier. It's already in. Much, much easier. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like. I am going to try it on. Again, this is super, super cute. So this is what it looks like. It does appear like it is a little bit short, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So this is just the top. This is, again, McCalls 7757 View D. This is View D. So I'm going to go try it on. And again, this is in a large. I did it in a large. My normal size that I would normally cut for this is a medium, but I did cut it in a large because I wanted a little bit of an oversized look and not a fitted look. So yeah. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm going to try this on and we'll see what it looks like. Okay. So what I would say is that I do like mine a little bit longer. I'm probably not going to, well, so two things. One, this is a large and I won't go, I would not do a medium. I would definitely I think a large is the right size for this. You can put it on your shoulders and, or you can go off the shoulders, but I would want mine to be a little bit longer because again, I'm not a total crop top person. I like a little, I like it like midriff. So I would probably add like an inch, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches. Yeah, probably like an inch and a half, just so it comes like right here. But for some people that like a complete crop top, this would be like your total look. And this is again a medium. I'm sorry, a large, not a medium. And I would not do a medium just because it would be tighter. This is probably what I thought the medium would look like, which is why I did the large because I wanted a little bit of a bigger, a little bit of a looser fit. But I like it overall. I will say that probably what I'm going to do for the one, I already cut my one in my white fabric. I'm probably going to take my seam allowances down. And then I'm probably going to get the 3/8 of an inch elastic just because I feel like I did use some of the extra space by making the casing much larger. But overall, I like it and I feel like it would look really good with the flowy pants. What I probably will do is I will probably wear a caftan over it too, just because I want a little bit more of a modest look when I'm wearing it. But again, it's cute. I like it. But for anyone that's looking at doing it, I would say this is a large, not a medium. And I initially thought, I'm so glad I did. I cut the medium. This is the large. Now I am going to do it in a knit too. So I will let you know how that fits. The white is a knit fabric. This is a silky type of fabric, a woven. It doesn't have any stretch to it. So it may work differently with the knit. But anyway, I really like it. I'm trying to think of what else I would tell you differently. I think those are the main things. Again, I wish I had enough fabric. I feel like the sleeves turned out the way that I wanted them to. They're nice and big, which is what I wanted. I did make these a little, I just added like an inch to the width of it. So not too big because they already felt big. So I was like, and I'm doing a large. So I thought between cutting a large and adding an inch that would give me this. And it is what I wanted. I'm not going to take out any of the elastic. I feel like the elastic is just the right amount of elastic. So I'm just going to go ahead and close up. You see that little piece sticking out. I'm going to close up my holes. And then it says, could you make the pants with a higher waist to compensate for the short top? Yes. So you're right. That's a great idea. Marilyn asked, can I make some high-waisted pants? So for this, I don't have the pants cut out yet. And so that may be the solution, Marilyn, to make some high-waisted pants. And then, because I would be perfectly fine with my pants came up here to compensate. Because, again, my personal preference is, not to have all this skin showing, particularly if my shoulders are out too. Like I prefer like a little bit of a modest look. So I'm actually going to look into that, Marilyn. That's probably what I'm going to do, is to do some high-waisted. Great suggestion. Thank you, Gaynell. Thank you, Carmen. Let's see. Thank you. So this pattern is McCalls 7757. I am going to be making it in white as well. Let me show you my fabric. I already have it all cut out. So I'm doing this white. It's a white knit fabric. So I'm doing it in this as well. It's got a lot of stretch to it. So again, I don't want it to fit tight, which is why I also cut this in a large as well. But we will see what happens. And I'm also doing it with the lining, which is one of the reasons why I didn't do that tonight, because I got to play around with adding a lining. There is no lining in the directions, but I'm going to put one in. So I didn't want to do it on live and be trying to figure that out with everyone. But so I plan to do it to make this again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Carol. Thank you, RVBs. Thank you, Brooklyn. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So next week we are going to be doing the pants, which is McCall's 7757. We're going to be doing view E, which is the pants. And as Marilyn suggested, I might be doing a modification, which is to make them high-waisted to compensate for the fact that this is really high. And I'd like it to be, again, I don't want this much skin showing. So I'm probably going to try to see if I can modify those pants and make them a little bit more high-waisted. So I'm going to work on that. And I hope to see you all next Friday while we work on the pants. And I'm going to figure out what fabric I'm going to get to go with this top, because I really like it a whole lot. I like it a lot. So we're going to work with it. So I will see you all next Friday. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I look forward to next Friday. And then right after that, you're going to see all these outfits again, because I am bringing them to Chicago Frock Tales, where I hope to see all of you there. And with that, again, thank you for joining. Thank you for everybody who did the super chat. I really appreciate you all, and I will see you next Friday. Bye.